Moving into our new home at Shady Pines Park felt like a step up, even if it was a trailer. After years of cramped apartments, finally having our own space, with a little yard even, was a big deal for our little family. It wasn't fancy, a used double wide, but it was clean and in a quiet park on the edge of town. Rent was cheap, which was the biggest draw. Mrs. Henderson, the park manager, a lady with a permanent cloud of cigarette smoke around her, told us that the previous folks moved out quickly but didn't really elaborate. We figured maybe they were tired of trailer park life, but this was a new and exciting adventure for us, so we were happy to move in. The first couple of weeks were actually pretty good. We painted the living room a bright yellow, hung up some new curtains, and started to feel at home. The trailer was small, thin walls. Everything felt a bit flimsy, but it was ours. Then the little things started, things that made me uneasy. It started with the cold spots, random patches of icy air, especially in the living room and hallway, even when the heater was blasting. I'd walk through the living room and suddenly feel this chill, like stepping into a refrigerator only for a second. Then it would be gone. Mark said it was drafts. Trailer homes weren't exactly known for their insulation, but it felt different, colder than just a draft. Then came the noises. Not like in an old house, no creaking wood or settling sounds. Trailer homes are mostly wood and cheap paneling. The sounds were metallic, a faint tapping, like someone lightly hitting the thin aluminum siding with their fingernail. It was always at night when the park was quiet, a rhythmic tap, tap, tap that seemed to come from inside the walls. Mark, again, was practical. Probably just branches hitting the side, he'd say, but there were no trees close enough to our trailer to be hitting the siding. One afternoon, I was in the kitchen making lunch. The trailer was quiet, just the hum of the fridge. Suddenly, the cabinet door under the sink swung open with a little creak. Annoyed, I bent down to close it, thinking maybe the latch was loose. As I reached for the handle, the door swung open wider, then slammed shut hard, rattling the cheap hinges. I jumped back, startled. No breeze, no reason for it to move like that, just weird. The tapping got worse, more frequent, louder, sometimes turning into a scratching sound, like something was trying to claw its way through the thin walls. It was always at night, and it started keeping me awake. I'd lie in bed, listening to Mark snore peacefully beside me, while the tap, 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 scratch, scratch, scratch echoed around us. Then the whispers started, faint just at the edge of hearing, like someone murmuring just outside the trailer walls. I couldn't make out any words, just a low, indistinct murmur. I'd get up and peek out the windows, but there was never anyone there, just the empty trailer park, streetlights casting long shadows, and the rustling of the wind through the cheap metal awnings. One night, I woke up suddenly, feeling ice cold even under the blankets. The trailer was silent, no tapping, no whispers, just an oppressive stillness. I looked over at Emily's bassinet next to our bed. She was usually a restless sleeper, but tonight she was completely still, facing away from me. "Emily," I whispered, reaching out to touch her. Her little body was rigid, cold. I gently turned her over. Her eyes were wide open, staring blankly at the ceiling, but she wasn't looking at the ceiling. She was looking through it, at something I couldn't see. And then she started to giggle. Not a baby giggle, not a happy sound, a high-pitched, breathy giggle that sent shivers down my spine. I scooped her up, my heart pounding, and held her tight. The giggling stopped, and her eyes seemed to focus again, looking at me, but they were different, empty, old. "Mommy," she said, her little voice sounding strangely deeper, raspier than usual. "They want to play with me." "Who wants to play?" I asked, my voice trembling. She just pointed a tiny finger towards the wall, towards the thin aluminum siding, and giggled again, that chilling, breathy giggle. That was it for me. I couldn't take it anymore. I woke Mark up, told him everything, the cold spots, the tapping, the whispers, Emily's eyes, the giggle. He was still skeptical, but even he couldn't deny the icy chill that seemed to cling to the air in the trailer, or the unsettling feeling that something was wrong. We packed a bag, Emily still strangely quiet in my arms, and walked out of that trailer in the middle of the night. We went to a motel. Anything was better than staying another minute in that place. The next day, we went back to Shady Pines to try and get our deposit back and move out officially. Mrs. Henderson barely looked surprised when we told her we were leaving. "Trailer 14, huh?" she said, puffing on her cigarette. "Yeah, some folks just don't settle in there. Old trailer, you know, thin walls." She didn't say anything more, but there was something in her eyes, a knowing look, that made my blood run cold. We moved back to our old apartment, lost our deposit, but we didn't care. Peace of mind was worth more than a few $100s. We never went back to Shady Pines, but sometimes when Emily is playing, I hear her giggle, and for a split second, it sounds different, breathier. And I remember those wide, empty eyes staring past me. And I wonder if we really left everything behind at that trailer on Shady Pines. Sometimes, I think, maybe they followed us. Maybe they're still here, just behind the walls, waiting to play.